guys, let's go hop up front now in the 2 Series Gran Coupe. Opening up our doors, again, frameless doors. And we can see the same nice materials up front here. And we have more ambient lighting on these front doors. This Harman Kardon logo glows, for example, at night. Nice, more contrasting blue stitching. I think they're very built very, very well. And then we have these sport bucket seats over here. We have a lumbar on the driver's seat, power adjustment. And we also have manual thigh adjustment as well over here, which is quite nice. And these seats are really, really good, actually. I would say at bolstering you going around corners. They have a really cool pattern up here as well. This M logo does glow, which is kind of nice at night. And this material over here has this red and blue pattern behind the perforation, so you can kind of see that color shift, which I think is really cool. Though, like I said with the rear seats, there's no perforation on the seats themselves, and it does get a little warm, I would say, on just like a normal summer day. But let's hop inside and check out this interior. Getting in, again, pretty easy to get in up front versus the rear seats. Nice solid door thunk there. And here we are in this crazy new interior. Okay, everyone, this is a really big upgrade versus the previous, or I guess pre-LCI or pre-generation of this vehicle. Everything is totally different, and I think that's for the better. Let's power it up. So put our foot on the brake, and we're going to find our start-stop button right here on the center console. It does pulse. Let's turn it on. Here's some iconic sounds coming through the speakers here. Crazy ambient lighting all around us. And this is a nice new space for this vehicle and this generation of cars. So what are we looking at? Up front, here we have the new generation style M steering wheel. This is something you're going to find across higher end M products like an M5, for example. We've seen this steering wheel before too. It has this really cool hollowed out kind of geometric design on the lower end, M badging, nice contrasting M stitching. It's nice and chunky as you'd find on a particular M car. And we have this red 12 o'clock marker up here as well. Now also you're going to find these new paddle shifters over here that are quite big. They have a nice grip behind them and they're hollow on the plus and minus. This left hand is a boost paddle, so you can hold this, you'll get a little bit of some overboost. Automatic wipers and headlights as well. We have our headlight controls here, and how newer BMW styles, you just press this button to access the breadth of your settings and it goes right there. Wiper controls are right there, and even our interior lighting, you can just press this button up there and it'll bring you to interior lighting controls, which is kind of cool. So you can change your ambient lighting on the fly or just use the voice assistant as well. And this gets a lot of cool ambient light colors. We have this cool new panel over here, and even on the door, on the side of the dash over here, we have these cool light panels which do reflect a little bit into the mirrors at night, so you might want to turn on reduce for night driving. And as you can see, the Harman Kardon logo does glow. We have some more ambient lighting here, so a lot of cool stuff going on in this interior, especially at night. But we do have to talk about the whole new structure of this interior here. We have all new air vents as well. So they're split design now, and we have this style we've seen on the newest generation 5 and 7 series, where you have this really interesting way to kind of move the vents around and open and close them. I like how we still have controls for this, but it's definitely something to get used to. On the dash here, we have this kind of M stitching going across the dash. This is feels like an injection molded style dash. Very solid, not hard, doesn't feel cheap, but you know, I'd like to see the Vaganza stitching up here. That would have been a little bit nicer. And also we have our all new displays. This is the new iDrive 9 style system. It is a curved unit, as you can see right here, which is kind of cool. So we have a full digital cluster here. It's shrunken down versus some other BMWs, so you may see graphics just a little bit tinier than expected, but we've seen this on all BMWs. And since this is an M model at the end of the day, and M Lite, I would say, we do have M graphics on our personal mode here. And of course, everything is fully customizable. We can change all of the content in the center, from maps to G-force meters to fuel economy. We can even change the layout of our tachometer and speedometer there, which is kind of cool. So you can really customize this to however you want. Same thing goes with the heads-up display. There are lots of different views. You can kind of customize that too as well. So lots of customization on all these BMWs now, which is quite nice. And different drive modes will give you different themes and designs. And speaking of drive modes, this one has quite a lot of those. So we can access that from this center console panel over here, which is a nicely designed panel, I have to say. We have this really sleek shifter we've seen on all new BMWs with an S mode for our 7-speed dual clutch. Hard buttons for our front and rear defrost, our parking sensors, and full 360 camera system, because we have the advanced parking package. So pressing that button on this panel here is going to open up our camera system here. We have the full backing up assistant, so you can record paths. You can also have an assist view as well, a panoramic view up front, and a whole bunch more camera angles, settings. You can clean the cameras. This is a fantastic system. If you've been in any modern BMWs, this is, and like I said before, we can access our drive modes here by pressing that little button here. So we can have our personal, sport, efficient. These are our core 3 drive modes. Swiping over are, I would say, experience modes. Efficient totally changes the driving dynamics of this car. It focuses on being efficient. The throttle is very, very light. You don't really have a lot of response, but that's all in favor of getting you really good MPG, which this car can get, which I think is pretty cool. Sport, for example, has a lot of customization as well. You also get unique gauges over here. Popping into the individual settings, you can change the drivetrain from Comfort Sport or Sport Plus. You can change your driving dynamics through Sport, Sport Plus, or full traction control, DSC off, and even your steering as well you can customize. So lots and lots of fun things here. And even in the regular personal mode, you have customization options you can kind of go through as well. So like I said, lots of individualization you can do on this vehicle here. And when you sign on with your BMW app, which you definitely have to do when you buy one of these new cars, you unlock even more stuff and more customization features as well. But you know, overall quality is really strong. It fits a very, very premium interior, I would say, for this class. I quite like it a lot. And one of my favorite things that BMW does really well is their wireless charging and just general charging systems. We have a huge wireless charging mat here, which is ventilated and ambient lit. And we have a little hidden storage cubby up here, which can actually fit another phone, and it's grippy, so things won't just slide out of it as well, which is quite nice. 12-volt socket, 2 USB-C ports, which charge so quickly. It's honestly quite impressive. It's like more powerful than like those bricks you'll find from like your iPhone, for example. We also have a nice volume scroll knob here, which has this nice knurled pattern on it, as well as forward and reverse track functions as well. And we have a quick access mode here to get to our driving dynamics and driver assistance pages here on our iDrive 9 screen here, which is quite nice. We have some hard buttons here, so navigation, telephone, and media. When you're signed in with Apple CarPlay, for example, these will take you to your Apple Music or Spotify, your Apple phone, or you know, if you're an Android Auto, your phone, and navigation will take you to Apple Maps or Waze, whatever you just had previously open. So that's really cool. Driver assistance screens, I really like what they do on this iOS or OS 9 software. The minis do this as well on the newer ones. You have really cool graphics for all of your driver assistance systems and great explanations for everything as well. So I really like this. It's really easy to kind of go around and see this. It's a lot easier than just having a menu of all this stuff laid out. I like the graphics. And you know, this system is pretty good. It's pure touch based in this car. You don't have any iDrive controller in this car. So, you know, it may take a little bit of getting used to if you're used to having that iDrive controller, or, you know, you're just not used to having a pure touch interface. But I would say over the last year, it's definitely gotten a lot better. Before, I would say it was a little bit slow and laggy. Now it's definitely quicker, I would say, to touch, and they've fixed some issues, I would say, with the climate system. So for example, if your climate controls are off now, completely off, you can still, from any screen, access your heated seat and heated steering wheel without having to turn the climate controls on. This can also be a quick access panel to Apple CarPlay if you have that connected. And this is your new home screen. It's no longer those widgets that go across. It's more of this side widget panel over here that you can kind of customize to your liking. And you can change this panel as well. So right now we have it as Maps. If we're in Apple Maps or Waze, this will be Apple Maps or Waze here, which is kind of cool. Swipe over here, you can also change it to your My Modes display. So just have it as a nice background. We also have a full app drawer, and this is, I would say, the most confusing part of this infotainment system. There's just a lot of stuff in here to kind of go through. They kind of separate it out a little bit from infotainment, vehicle, recently used things, and your digital premium subscription, which you do actually have to pay for around $10 a month. So you'll unlock like the Air Console games you can play with your phone, upgraded maps, the full personal assistant, some additional exterior lighting functions as well. So this one does have, you can change the welcome and goodbye. So you have a whole bunch of different patterns here for your lights to turn on and off, which is pretty cool. You can adjust your headlight pattern as well at night, which is kind of cool. But yeah, guys, this is a good general overview, I would say, of this interior. It's definitely compact. It's definitely a little tight and small, but you know, for a front passenger and driver, it's nice. Rear seats a little bit on the tighter end. Lots of nice storage cubbies and spaces. I like this center armrest over here. It's a little bit on the harder end, but still has a nice softness to it. Good amount of storage in there. As you can see, I have some junk, but we also have a nice normal glove box. It does have a hidden button up here, but thankfully it is just a regular button and not like a push button to open it from the screen. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting interior. We have an interior camera too if you want to take pictures. You know, our controls for our roof as well, and we also have, of course, illuminated mirrors in here, so that's nice. But yeah, it's a cool space. The only main complaint I would really say is I don't like the driving position. It's just a little bit too high for me. This is my eye level right here. I prefer when I'm sitting a little bit more in the car like this. You know, that's just a platform of this vehicle. And just to go over some of the Apple CarPlay functionalities of this car, you can see now that as Apple CarPlay is connected, I can literally just press this home button and go straight to Apple CarPlay versus our home screen. You can swap back and forth pretty easily. And let's say if I turn my map maps on, for example, here, you see the BMW mapping system right now, but let's say if I turn on Waze and I want to use Waze, I'm going to go home and I enter a destination, and then it's going to enter it, and then I go home, it's going to pop up Waze here, which is really, really cool. And now I can swap between my modes and Waze, for example. And the same thing will happen on our digital cluster up here. I can go to my maps now, and it's going to show Waze, and I can even make this bigger by doing this. So now I'm going to have Waze on here versus the BMW mapping system. And this also works for the Apple Maps as well. So I can end my navigation here. I'm going to go over to my Apple Maps destination here for you guys real quick. Let's just say a mobile gas station, and I'm going to pop this in here. You'll see that Apple Maps is going to pop up on here. I leave it, it's going to kind of zoom in on here for me a little bit more, which is pretty nice. And I'm going to get turn-by-turn navigation up here, as well as in my heads-up display. Going home, you can see I'll have Apple Maps on here, and I can siphon back and forth from those. So really, really cool stuff you can do with Apple CarPlay now, and how it integrates into this BMW navigation system. And on a lot of other cars now, it kind of builds in a lot of these apps built into the home screen. So I can see Apple CarPlay pops up here. It also pops up Messages, Waze, Spotify, any apps I really have in CarPlay I can just access built into the main BMW app drawer, which is really, really a cool option, I would say. And it also looks great on this digital cluster here when I can kind of configure the layouts how I want them to be as well. So you can also customize different phones as well. You can set up different phones, different profiles to have different CarPlays just pop up when you get in the vehicle. And another really great thing is, let's say if I press media here, it's going to go straight to my Apple Maps or whatever current media I have. So yes, it's a little bit of a learning curve, this infotainment system, but I would say it works really, really well once you get the hang of it. Okay guys, we're gonna go hop in the rear end of the 235 Gran Coupe, and here we have our newer style BMW key fob. I actually am a huge fan of this. It's like metal, it feels really sturdy, and we have those M colors on there. But you can unlock this car using your phone, using the M key card, which is like a credit card inside. You can use the key fob. There's so many ways to get in and out of this car, but we're just gonna use the key fob right now and check out the little dance the taillights and headlights will do, which is really cool when you unlock and start the vehicle. You can change that pattern as well. Now, unfortunately, they were not able to change the sizing of this rear seat. It's still pretty small, and we also have the older style BMW door handles, which are nice. I do like the closing sound of the doors. I think that sounds really sturdy, but let's go hop inside and see if I fit back here. And also the door handles and everything and the door panels on the interior are quite nice. Of course, a little bit harder plastics, but you know, this is an entry-level vehicle, but everything is put together so solidly as you would expect from a BMW. This is a nice Vaganza style material here, as well as on the doors, very, very sturdy, and a massive speaker grille for our Harman Kardon audio system. Let's hop inside. Getting in, it is a really, really tiny opening actually, so you kind of have to duck in to get inside this car. Closing up the door, again, nice and solid thunk. The windows go up, you know, this is a frameless door. And here is my space back here, and oh boy, we already have a problem. It's pretty tight, and my head does not fit back here whatsoever, but thankfully I get to look at these really nice M kind of sports seats we have up here. It's an M logo right there. We can see the back of our driver's head if you do choose to do so. And since we have to have such a big cutout here for my knees and feet, we don't have any rear seat storage on either of these seats. Thankfully, we do have air vents back here, which honestly I'm going to need, though. No heated seats or anything back here. 2 USB-C ports, which are very, very quick charging, and some nice premium carpeting down here. The seats themselves are quite nice. We've seen these seats before on the X2 M35, which is quite nice. This kind of micro suede material with this M style stitching, the Vaganza vegan leather style material, and I like this little M badging piping on the sides of the seats. They're really, really nice and quite comfortable. And this material, you know, it will keep you gripped, but you definitely will get hot in here. It's not very ventilated. If it's on a hot day, you're going to feel like your whole back and pants are sweaty because they just don't ventilate very, very well. I do like the design of everything back here. It's quite nice. Hoping down this little center console area over here, we do have 2 cup holders and an armrest, but I have to say it is really, really tight back here. We do have lights as well. If you feel a little bit cramped, you can turn on, and this large panoramic glass roof. But let me just show you how much headroom I actually have, or well, I guess don't have. Okay, everyone. Yeah, it's tiny back here. I literally can't sit back here. I'm 6 feet tall, and I would say it's a pretty average height. And honestly, I kind of have to like duck my head. My head is completely pressed against this roof, sitting completely up. I kind of have to like shimmy myself down just a little bit to try to get back, and still it's hitting the back of this roof. So it is definitely a smaller vehicle in here. Nonetheless, let's open up our trunk over here. Of course, opens up pretty quickly, and you can see it is stuffed with a whole bunch of bags and things, and that just kind of gives to show you how much space you have in the rear of the trunk area over here. It is a small trunk, don't get me wrong. Opening up the floor area over here is going to give you a little bit more storage, but it's not that big of an interior or cargo space for this vehicle. But that's pretty much what we're going to see across this class. These are a very, very small, very like almost subcompact class of premium entry-level luxury vehicles. I do wish there was a little bit more of an easier way to close the trunk, so you don't have to like grab the spoiler or paint and get your fingerprints all dirty. You can kind of grab it a little bit in here. It's a little bit of a weird motion though, so I'd like to see it like a handle or something in there.